Hey there riders, Moto Journo Kris here today. I have very luckily been lent Northside Motorcycles Tuono 660. This is really quite a new model. I'm really excited about this. I was really excited about the RS660 and I want to talk about the ergonomics of this bike. Now, obviously, the big thing that stands out between the two models is that the Tuono is the roadster. It has the tall bars, slightly more relaxed ergonomics, but generally speaking, it maintains all of the sportiness factor of the RS660, but in just that little bit more comfortable package. You've got the bars on risers here instead of the clip-on style bars. They're quite wide bars as well. That means that you're sitting nice and upright on this bike, as I'll show you in a second. And it does mean it's going to be a more comfortable everyday ride, as well as, I would say, like most of the roadsters, it's gonna give you a magnified feeling of speed and, you know, the riding experience, where on a sports bike, I find it's the opposite. You have to be going really quick on a sports bike, and certainly on this, you can go very, very quick, but you don't need to. You get that beautiful feeling of engagement and having fun on the bike with the upright ergo, which is a real plus if you ask me, and probably why a lot of people look at this particular bike. On the back here, you have still got quite a sporty looking seat. However, it's got, you know, quite a nice foam in it. It's got a bit of give in it. Spending an hour in the saddle in one go, no issues whatsoever. It was very, very comfortable, especially for this style of bike. On the rear, this kind of looks like just a bit of tail, but that's actually a pillion seat. A small pillion seat, but, you know, probably fine for short or, you know, medium distances to have someone on the back. Obviously, there's not a huge reach to those pegs, but that's not really a concern. The pegs themselves are rubber clad, both for the passenger and for the rider. I would say there's a nicely engaged kind of ratio between the seat and the pegs and the tank, which for me as a rider allowed me to just put the arches of my feet on those and lock into the tank quite well, just with my thighs. And then if I really wanted to grasp onto the tank, I could use my knees as well, which was really nice. So as far as from like a lower body perspective, as far as the seat, the tank and the peg ratio, for me with a 32-inch inseam, pretty much ideal. I'm 180 centimeters as far as height, and likewise, the reach to the bars was ideal, very relaxed, nice kind of view down the road without being hunched over or, you know, having any neck or back issues or any strain on your arms either. It's a very kind of easy bike to sit on. I like the fact that you can kind of grasp onto the bike quite easily, quite naturally, at least for me with my proportions. And of course, as far as the actual bars themselves, it's a very similar kind of situation. Now, it's by no means the shortest of seat heights. I think these are an 825 seat height. I'll have to double check that. It's more like a sports bike as far as the actual seat height. So if you're a much shorter person, you might find that that's something to consider. But as I said, you know, it's nicely balanced. It's not an overly heavy bike. This is one of the lightest bikes in the category, and it does offer some adjustability in that suspension for different weights, which is going to be nice. You've got an adjustable brake lever, non-adjustable clutch lever, so you'll have to go aftermarket for that. A little bit of wind protection, great vision through those mirrors, I got to say, that's really commendable, and very easy controls. They're not overly complicated. There's a lot of electronic system on this bike, but they're very easily accessed and changed through. So there's certainly no concerns there as far as the usability of the bike. It is ultra usable for your everyday riding. Now, certainly this bike is up against the comparisons like the MT-09 and the Street Triple. I will say I've been really impressed with this bike. Obviously, it has the upright seating position. You're not going to find yourself, as I mentioned, having any back or neck pain, I would say, on this particular bike, unless you're a very different proportion to me. And I think it just ticks all the boxes as far as a quite easy bike to jump onto, which if you check out my review, the characteristics of the bike very much reinforce that as far as the suspension, the engine characteristic and the power delivery and that throttle response. And it's just a really, really nice bike, nicely balanced, nice and comfortable. The one thing I will say, as I said before, is the seat height not being the lowest, being more in that sports bike category, is something that you might have to think about. But I'd also say, you know, there's quite a bit of padding on the seat, so a fair bit of that seat kind of padding and that height in the seat is a comfort feature. So certainly if you can get 1 foot down on this kind of bike, I think that's more than enough, because as I mentioned as well, it is quite a light machine, particularly for the category, so you've got that going for you. It feels, I mean, I'm not gonna say it feels compact. It feels compact sitting on the bike. However, there is, you know, quite a lot of bike in front of you as far as how far out the fairing goes, because like most Tuonos, it kind of keeps most of that fairing there. It just cuts it back a little bit to take away that full sports bike feel. So you're still very much getting that very, very traditional Tuono experience. However, it's just gonna be the ideal option for someone looking for the roadster version and something that's easy to ride. So if you've liked the video or you've got any questions, let me know down below in the comments. As always, stay safe out there and thanks for watching.